This is a new jacket and I'm trying to decide if I like it or if I look like the monkey that was spotted in IKEA that one time. I think maybe it's both. Hi, what's up? My name is Emma, aka midsummerknits, and welcome back to my channel. This is a video that I've been wanting to make for quite a while. However, I haven't had the actual data to come here and make this video until now. So this video is going to be talking about my finances when it comes to me being a fiber artist slash influencer and how much I was actually able to make within a single year, which is 2023. A couple of disclaimers before we get started. First of all, I am not by any means a full-time fiber artist slash influencer, which you'll be able to tell as soon as I get into the finances and how much I was actually able to make last year, because I'm not making anywhere near enough to survive off of. I'm super lucky to have a full-time job as a software engineer, which is a really great job. I make a good amount of money and I'm really thankful that I have that job. And it allows me to have the time and the resources to continue doing fiber arts as just kind of this fun thing that I'm doing on the side. However, it is really nice that I am able to make a little bit of money from my fiber arts business and just have that as kind of like a side hustle. However, just in terms of what I was doing last year when it came to fiber arts, it was not anywhere near enough to make a living off of or survive off of without having also an additional full-time income. And I don't think that many people go into fiber arts thinking that it's going to be like a way for them to make a killing. It's really just something that I feel like a lot of people start as a hobby and something they love. And then some people do actually manage to build it into like a full-time thing for themselves, which I would love to be able to do one day. But for me personally, I am not anywhere near that level, and I'm totally okay with that, at least at this point in my life. One thing I want to mention as well before we get into it is that I did not actually put out any patterns this year. I am kind of a hopefully fledgling designer. However, I have not put out any patterns since sort of restarting knitting, which I did in 2021. I do have a couple of patterns that I worked on in 2023 that I'm hoping to put out in early 2024. And I am really hoping to do that early this year because I feel like last year I kind of lost focus when it came to putting those patterns out and just didn't make them a priority. And this year I think I'm going to be stepping back from YouTube a little bit, which takes up a lot of my time, and hopefully stepping into working on patterns a little bit more. So just to be clear, patterns are not an income source at all for me at this point in time, and when I go through all of my income sources, I will not include patterns because they are not an income source for me. However, I am really excited to see next year, if I'm able to get some patterns out, what that income looks like, because I don't really have too much of an idea right now how much I would be able to make off of patterns. So really, when it comes to my income sources that I'm going to be talking about today, it is mainly just social media, which I think is also a pretty interesting use case. So I am excited to get into those numbers with you guys. If you do want to see an example of someone who has both patterns and social media as their income sources as a fiber artist, I do have a previous fiber arts finances video that I made with my friend Emma, aka Made in the Moment, where they talk about their income as a designer as well as a social media fiber artist slash influencer. I think that video is super interesting, so I encourage you guys to go check it out if you do want to see some more of these fiber arts finances videos, which I think are super fun to watch. Without further ado, let's get into my finances for 2023. First off, let's talk about Instagram slash TikTok. Instagram is actually my biggest social media account. I have around 25,000 followers on there. However, I feel like directly monetizing your content through Instagram has not really existed a lot in the past. Instagram did previously have a payout program for Reels, which I believe was called their bonus program. The thing about the bonus program is that I was not really a part of it for a very long period of time. I actually did participate in it in January of last year because I was invited to participate, but after that, they got rid of the old bonus program and came up with a different revenue sharing program, which I'll get into in a minute. So I don't really know too much about the old bonus program. I do know that some people were able to make a decent amount of money off of the old bonus program, but there wasn't a lot of transparency in terms of exact view count, you know, equaling a certain amount that you get paid per view. There wasn't a lot of transparency in terms of how you're able to be invited to this program if you needed to have a certain number of followers, have Reels perform well in a certain amount. I just feel like there wasn't really much transparency there, so I don't really have a lot of information behind, you know, the statistics of getting paid through the Reels bonus program. However, that program also does not exist anymore, so I guess there's not really too much point getting into like the nitty-gritty details of it. That being said, first off, I want to say I did not make any money from TikTok last year. I do not have a huge social media presence on TikTok. I feel like for the most part, I really just repost my Instagram Reels, which I am making these short form videos more with Reels in mind. I feel like the strategy between making Instagram Reels versus making TikToks is pretty different in my mind. And I do have an entire video talking about that as well if you want to check that out. But Most of my videos I am making with Instagram in mind because it is my main social media platform. So on TikTok, I kind of just repost those same reels that I'm posting. And so I have like around 5,000 followers on TikTok. With that being said, I did not make any money from TikTok last year because you need to have at least 10,000 followers to make money from TikTok. Funnily enough, I do have a second TikTok account, which I post about Taylor Swift and kind of like other music that I'm into on that account. And I did make a little bit of money from that account, and it was actually like a decent amount of money. However, on my knitting account, I did not make any money because I do not have 10,000 followers on there. I do think that I should really focus a little bit more on posting TikToks and trying to get to at least 10,000 followers, but I just didn't end up prioritizing that last year, so did not make any money from TikTok. For Instagram, I did participate in the Reels bonus program last January, as I mentioned. I believe the sort of deal that they offered me was that I could post up to 5 Reels within a certain amount of time. I think it was maybe like a month or so, and for each of those Reels that I posted, I would get $10. And they actually did say that I would need to hit $100 to get a payout. However, I think because they ended up getting rid of that old program, they ended up just paying me out directly the $50 without actually me reaching that $100 payout. So I got $50 from the Instagram Reels monetization program, the bonus monetization program. And then finally, towards the end of 2023, Instagram also added a new monetization program to replace the Reels bonus program. I forget the name of the program, so I'll put it on the screen if I can find it. But it's just more of a ad revenue sharing program that is sort of similar to the ones that TikTok and YouTube have, where you are going to post Instagram Reels, people are going to watch those Reels, and then while they're scrolling through their Reels feed, they're also going to get ads. So the ads revenue will be sort of shared among all the different creators whose Reels are being watched. From that program, I did not make a lot of money at all despite having a few semi-viral videos. I made $12.39. So from Instagram/TikTok, I had a grand total of $62.39 last year. Up next, I want to get into some random revenue sources that I had in 2023. The first one is that I had some Amazon affiliate links that I have linked to when it comes to my YouTube, my Instagram, all my different social media accounts. And this one was not a very big driver of revenue for me, but it did end up giving me a couple of extra bucks in my pocket. So I made $20.47 from those Amazon affiliate links. The main thing that I think I linked to that people actually ended up buying was the tulip I-cord maker, which I did an entire review video on in 2023. This video is actually kind of funny because I posted it and it initially did really poorly. I think I got like 200 views, and I was a little bit disappointed in it because I had put a bit of work into making and editing that video, and then for whatever reason a few months later it started getting a few more views. I think it has like 1,000 or 1,500 views now. So people, I guess, were a little bit interested in that and ended up buying a couple of those I-cord makers. The funny thing about Amazon affiliate links too is that if people just click on a link from your affiliate page and then end up buying something else like totally unrelated within the next 24 hours or so, I believe, you will actually end up making a small percentage of that purchase. So I think that's kind of funny. I feel like if people just randomly happen to click on my link for whatever reason and then they ended up making some different purchase, I ended up getting a small percentage of that purchase. So that's kind of cool, I suppose. I also don't know if I should count this next one as part of my revenue for the year 2023, but I'm going to count it. YouTube kind of randomly actually sent me a $500 gift card to B&H Photo, and this was because the YouTube creator's Twitter account was sort of tweeting and asking creators to respond to their tweets and say their goals and things that they want to achieve with their channel. And I responded linking my channel and saying that I wanted to make knitting more accessible and just share my knitting with the world. And they randomly selected my channel, I suppose. Maybe they looked through the channels and were like, this channel looks like it has some promise. But they selected my channel and decided to send me a $500 gift card to spend on camera equipment, which I ended up spending on my vlog camera, and I'm so thankful to YouTube for that, so that is super cool. And I'm just going to go ahead and include that as part of my revenue, even though it isn't really anything that I particularly worked for. I did respond to YouTube and linked them my channel, so I suppose that is something that I, you know, put a little bit of effort into. But I thought that was super cool, and I'm super thankful to YouTube for that. Up next, we're gonna go into my YouTube stats. As you can see here, I made $245.94 from YouTube in 2023. Something to note about this is I was actually monetized on YouTube in April of 2023, early April, I think. And then proceeded to make this amount of money from my remaining videos and views that I got on previous videos. Another thing to note about this page is that you can see it says I have 1 million views in 2023. So that's a little bit misleading because most of those views are from shorts as opposed to my actual videos. And shorts, which is the short form content on YouTube, sort of similar to TikTok or Reels. They are obviously going to be a lot shorter versus my actual full-length videos are usually going to be like 13 to 20 minutes, so I'm not going to be making as much money off of those views that I have on shorts versus my full-length videos. As you can see, this is my monthly breakdown when it comes to each of the months and how much I made off of them on YouTube. So for some reason I'm struggling to order this in chronological order, so this is reverse chronological order, showing December 1st and then April at the end. But as you can see, I feel like there was a bit of a wide range when it came to how much I made off of YouTube each month. In July, I only made $11.40. That was my lowest earning month. And then in October, I made $51.97. And one thing to note about this is that I did not actually post very consistently throughout all of 2023. For example, in some of the summer months, I wasn't posting super consistently because I was moving, and you know, same thing kind of when the holidays came around, I wasn't posting as often. But I feel like it's not necessarily easy to correlate that to the amount of money that I got paid for each month either, because sometimes I would just have videos that did better or for whatever reason had a higher RPM, which is the amount that you're getting paid per view on the video. So I feel like although there were some months that I posted less frequently, that didn't always correlate exactly with me getting paid less. So let's go into some more details here. Here we can see my top earning content for all of 2023. As you can see, this first one was a short, but then for the rest of the content, most of it is not actually shorts, because as I mentioned, shorts have such a short runtime that unless you have one go super viral, it's not going to get you a lot of money. This one I think went pretty viral. It's really funny because this is a video that I just filmed in like 5 minutes where I was testing how quickly I would be able to knit a row versus purl a row, and it's only a 19-second long short, and for whatever reason, this ended up going kind of viral and made me like $24. As you can see, none of my videos made more than like $25. I feel like I just didn't have any videos go super viral or anything. My most well-performing long-form video is this one. It is the 15 knitting patterns for spring. This one has around 12,000 views. And the thing about this one is I actually posted this before I got monetized, and this really helped me to get pushed over the edge of getting monetized, because you need to have a certain number of watch hours as well as 1,000 subscribers to get monetized. So this one really helped me hit the watch hours metric, but because I posted it before getting monetized, it's only been monetized for like part of its career and has only made me around $10. Otherwise, funnily enough, this knit flip my Moby sweater with me video, for whatever reason, this one has a relatively high RPM. I do have a couple of videos that have more views than this knit flip with me video. However, I think most of those I posted before being monetized, so this is kind of my most popular video that has actually been monetized for its entire lifetime, and as such, it is one of my most successful videos. It's made me $22.14. I actually posted this one in November, so it hasn't been around super long, but it has been my best video in terms of performance. Other takeaways from my YouTube monetization and how much I made from each video. First of all, it is really good to post videos that are going to sort of be evergreen and that people can search later on and watch, and it's really good to keep those videos up even if they don't perform super well. I did mention that my tulip I-cord knitting machine video where I tested out this I-cord knitting machine did not do super well at first. It got 200 or 250 views, which is not performing super well for my channel personally, and I was a little bit disappointed with that fact. However, I ended up leaving the video up, and for whatever reason, a few months later, it ended up performing a bit better and just like making me a bit of money, which is, I think it's always good to keep videos up for at least like 6 months or so, even if they aren't performing super well at first. You never know what can happen. Another example of some sort of evergreen videos I have up are these knitting pattern recommendation videos. I still will definitely consider posting some updated versions of these in the future. For example, if I do see a lot of patterns coming out in a certain year that I think are cool, I could make a sort of like knitting patterns for the fall in 2024 video. And I think that would still do well, but I think this video is going to be one that, you know, could come back in future seasons and people end up rewatching them just for inspiration and for ideas of things to knit, because it doesn't necessarily have to be specific to a certain time period. Another thing is, as I mentioned, posting frequently in a month does not necessarily correlate with my videos doing super well. I feel like it really is more important to focus on quality over quantity. At least that has been my experience. I feel like this year there would be a lot of times where I really wanted to get a video out for a certain week because I just wanted to be really consistent about posting this year. And I would just kind of come up with a haphazard video idea where it was like, oh, I'm just gonna like make a little podcast episode and talk about what I've been knitting, or you know, something else that I feel like wasn't necessarily super high effort, which is okay. Not every video has to be super high effort. But what I realized is that a lot of these videos that I didn't put as much effort into just didn't do super well. Didn't perform super well, didn't make me a lot of money, which is fine. Again, you know, I'm doing this for fun more than anything. But for this year, I think I do want to focus a little bit more, not even on like getting paid for making YouTube videos, just in quality over quantity when it comes to YouTube. Both for the fact that, you know, it doesn't make sense for me to post these sort of like haphazard videos and I'm not putting as much effort into because I'm not very proud of them, and also because I don't think it makes sense to really push myself to post a video every single week because it doesn't really even seem to, you know, help my channel performance super a ton. So I think it makes a lot more sense for me to focus just on posting videos less frequently, but videos that I'm really proud of and that I feel like I have put a bit of effort and time into. So those are my takeaways when it comes to YouTube. I hope I didn't ramble too much, but let's get into the last segment of this video, which are my brand partnerships. The last place where I made money this year was from brand partnerships. I have an entire video talking about what brand partnerships are like as a fiber artist slash influencer, which I will link to as well. There's so many videos that I feel like are related to this video that I think you guys would be interested in. And I do want to say, since that video, I do think that things have changed a little bit, as in making money from brand partnerships as a knitter slash content creator has been a little bit better. I think that a lot of brands have come around a little bit to the idea of actually paying influencers to talk about their yarn and link to their yarn and, you know, sort of educate people about their brand, which I think is pretty cool. With that being said, it's still always going to be more difficult, I think, to make money from brand partnerships as a fiber artist content creator as opposed to just like a lifestyle content creator, because there's just such a bigger market and audience for lifestyle that it's always going to be, you know, a better place to be if you really want to be in content creation for the money. However, as I mentioned a couple times, I'm not in content creation for the money. I'm in it because I enjoy it and because I love fiber arts and I love knitting and I want to share that with people. So with that being said, in my mind, I did make a good amount of money from brand partnerships this year. I made $1,016.41. And I don't want to go into the specifics of each brand partnership that I did and how much they paid me because I just think that would be frowned upon. I just don't think that brands that I have worked with would be super happy if I was sharing like exact details of what they paid me and what I posted in exchange for that. However, all of the brands that I worked with this year were really awesome. I think that I, you know, was able to kind of negotiate with a couple of them and get paid what I thought was fair for my size of following and my, you know, influence. And I thought that was really cool. That is something that I was not able to achieve at all last year, even though I had like 8,000 followers on Instagram. I was not able to get a single paid brand partnership last year, although that was not for lack of trying. I did reach out to a few yarn brands and just, you know, didn't see any results. But this year it was pretty cool that I was able to get a couple of paid partnerships with brands. I do want to say, brand partnerships, I do have a few different thoughts on. One thing when it comes to brand partnerships is that although working with brands was the biggest way that I was able to make a little bit more money from fiber arts this year, I don't necessarily know how much I'm going to continue doing it when it comes to 2024. The first thing is that for a lot of fiber arts brand deals, the amount of time that you are putting into these brand deals is a lot more than you would put into a normal brand deal where you're just shooting content for a specific brand, maybe showing you using like some makeup or wearing a shirt. Any brand that sort of falls under more of a lifestyle or fashion arena, I feel like it's just not going to require as much effort versus working with a yarn company or fiber arts company. It's usually going to require you actually using that yarn for a project, which can take a lot of time. And obviously I feel like my mindset when it came to this was, oh, I want to knit that anyways. I might as well knit this piece with this yarn and, you know, get paid for it. However, I feel like that is a little bit of a logical fallacy as well. You are spending that time knitting something for a brand when you could be doing something else with your time. So when you think about it in terms of sort of like amount of money I'm getting paid per hour of work that I'm putting into working on something for this brand, it might not feel as worth it. Obviously, I know that I'm extremely lucky to be being paid by these brands just to be sharing their yarn and sharing things I've knit with their yarn. However, just putting my 2 cents out there in terms of where I think it is worth spending my time, I don't necessarily want to be working on a lot of brand partnerships in the future that are going to be taking a ton of time and, you know, causing me to knit things that maybe I wouldn't necessarily want to knit otherwise. Another thing is I don't want to entirely alienate my audience with brand partnerships. I obviously am not going to be promoting any yarn that I have not liked working with or have not liked how things came out with that yarn. I feel like that is definitely a standard that I want to hold myself to and continue to hold myself to, regardless of like what brands are offering me. I always want to make sure that I'm working with things that I actually enjoy, and I'm not recommending you guys yarn that I don't personally like. However, I do feel like even if I am recommending yarn that I personally like, it still can be kind of exhausting as a viewer to constantly be being recommended things from an influencer. So obviously I don't want to alienate you guys. I don't want every video I post to be a partnership. So those are just some things that I'm keeping in mind when I go into 2024 in terms of brand partnerships and what I want to do in the future. So with all of these components taken into account, I made exactly $1,841.14 for the year of 2023 from my fiber arts / knitting accounts. Like I said at the beginning of this video, I am by no means a full-time fiber artist. I am not going to be anytime soon, unless something completely magical happens for me and I'm able to make a much higher revenue than I'm currently making. I just don't see it happening for me that I'm able to like quit my day job and start doing fiber arts as a full-time gig. However, I am really happy that I'm able to make this amount of money off of it just from posting about what I'm making and sharing it with you guys. I think it's really cool, and obviously I enjoy doing this and I'm going to continue doing it in the future. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video and hearing what I made from fiber arts in the year 2023. I would be really curious to hear from you guys. Is this what you expected? Do you expect me to make more or less from fiber arts this year? And, you know, why did you expect that? If you enjoy this video, I would also really appreciate it if you subscribe to me, because these videos do take a little bit of work and research, and it's always awesome to let YouTube know that you guys are actually enjoying this content. So feel free to subscribe to me, as well as hit the thumbs up on this video to let YouTube know that you liked this video. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye!